All right. So, first, I want to say welcome to everyone who is here or finds this recording. This is another presentation of consciousness ascending. My name is Benny Ferguson. I channel the non-physical collective known as Abraham, and we are looking to be consistent at this offering on this platform, allowing for a level of interaction for sure on this platform. It's via chat. If you find value in this type of interaction, be sure to check the description for our conscious discussions, where we are live via Zoom, actually having conversations with individuals. The next one is coming up tomorrow, on Wednesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. And you can follow the link in the description, www.consciousness-discussions.com, to register and get all the information for that. Today's topic is the roots of forgiveness. The roots of forgiveness run very deep, very, very deep. And there's a huge misconception about forgiveness. Yeah, interesting. It kind of ties into the idea of love as well, and personal power and self esteem and all of those things. So let's talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness first. The first point we want to make about forgiveness is that forgiveness is for the individual. It's not for anybody else in the experience. So many times, individuals, people, think that they need to forgive someone. I forgive you for this happening. I forgive you for doing this to me. I forgive you for making me feel a certain way in conversation or in experience. Most of the time, it's not something physical, it's something emotional that has occurred. An event has occurred that has sparked a certain type of emotion that one feels necessary once they reach a certain point in development, that they need to, that it's the correct thing to forgive someone, to forgive a friend, to forgive a parent, to forgive a coworker, even a stranger sometimes. And this is a mistake. Forgiveness is not for the collaborative components of an experience. For the collaborative components of an experience are oftentimes oblivious to how they made you feel. They were merely acting in the moment based on who it was necessary for them to be in the experience. You were playing your role, they were playing their role, and they were not aware, nor were they concerned about how you were being affected in the moment. And with that being the case, oftentimes they don't even know that you're still offended weeks, months, years later. They don't even know that you're still suffering or in pain weeks, months, years later, until you bring it up, until you say something. And then sometimes, because they're not in that frame of reference, they're not in that state of being, and you catch them at a beautiful time, they apologize and all those things, and you say, I forgive you. But sometimes that's not the case as well. Sometimes you bring it up, you have the you try to have the conversation, and they don't care. Or you don't get the response that you intended. They tell you how you made them feel. And now there's a big ball of confusion, right? Potentially all born of misinterpretation. But forgiveness is not for the collaborative components of an experience. Forgiveness is for the individual who is carrying the idea, who is carrying the pain, the individual who is suffering as a result of the experience. Forgiveness for what? Well, oftentimes individuals are carrying guilt, they're carrying shame toward themselves for what they did or didn't do, for not responding in a stronger way, for a myriad of reasons. But the idea is the guilt that one is casting toward themselves, the shame that one is casting for themselves, the anger and the frustration that one is casting toward themselves. That is where the forgiveness comes in. Where the apologies come in. That is where the gratitude, the recognition, the appreciation toward the self comes in. That affords the healing. Healing comes when you begin to shine higher frequency onto a lower frequency circumstance, experience, or idea that you're holding on the inside. And as that idea begins to dissolve as a result of you shining higher frequency, brighter light from a higher perspective on it, what happens? You draw the understanding that is there for you. You draw the wisdom, the knowledge that is there for you. You see the potentials that are in that experience, that were in that experience for growth and expansion for you, and you are empowered. The idea is transformed. And what happens to you? You expand. Your awareness expands and you become a little bit more as the result of the experience. But this growth stems from your forgiving of yourself, for holding the guilt, for being angry or frustrated at you. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the feelings, the thoughts, the ideas that you have toward others, right? This requires you to take note of your language, take note of your thought processes, and who you are being in any present moment toward another, whether they're family or stranger, whether they're adult or child, who you are being toward another. Yeah, you may think you're being playful, or you may intentionally be frustrated or angry and responding in that manner in your communication or even in your thoughts and your disdain and your regret or your pain that you're speaking from, the frustration that you're entertaining and the thoughts and the words are stemming from that place, you have to understand that in those moments, whether you're actually communicating to someone or something outside of you or just thinking the thoughts, you are actually, most importantly, communicating to yourself. Communicating to yourself. Pain you feel. And in that frustration that you are communicating, that anger that you're communicating, those that you hear communicating their belief in failure, their belief in broken relationships, their belief in illness and dis-ease. Anytime you entertain a thought, anytime you communicate utilizing your language, you're communicating that idea to yourself. For the unconscious regions of your being do not know whether that which you are speaking or thinking, communicating, is directed toward another or directed toward yourself. Now, if you are most often finding yourself in circumstances that anger you, that frustrate you, and you're often speaking from that space, then this is what you're communicating to the inner regions of your mind that holds the dominant ideas, that this is who you are. This is what I believe. And it registers that as you communicate with a level of repetition, it registers that information. And what happens? You become that. You become that. And this is why the idea of forgiveness is so important. For forgiveness, in forgiveness, you are releasing yourself of blame. You are releasing yourself of guilt. You are releasing yourself of any shame, all of those things that you may be associating with the type of person that you were or have been. You're releasing yourself of you're releasing yourself of those ideas. And that is what allows you to organically move into higher vibration. For you're releasing that which is holding you in lower vibration. Think about when you have an experience or you're a part of an experience, or if you believe an experience happens to you that is painful. Say it occurs from a loved one or a parent, and you have held on to that experience and you're reminded of that experience every time you see them, every time someone talks about them, because of the emotion that was involved that established the idea and the memory. When you're riding in your car, you think about it and it causes you to feel the way you felt. That idea is holding you in a level of bondage in a certain vibration. For every time you consider that idea, every time that idea appears in your mind, every time you're reminded of that event or that experience, you go into that same level of vibration. And if you understand the importance of your vibration, if you understand the importance of your energy signature, if you understand that you are expressing vibrationally, energetically, constantly, without ceasing, then you know that it's important that you manage that. It's important that you play with being in a level of vibration, a level of frequency that corresponds with the type of experiences that you want, that you desire. And if any memory, if any idea moves you away from the feeling, the color, the tone of that, of the types of experiences that you actually desire, then you must play with transforming them. And that's what forgiveness does. Forgiveness of self. Forgiveness of self is what allows you to release, let go, and move into higher vibration, remaining in higher vibration more consistently. For yes, the roots run deep. Let's address that. When we say the roots run deep, the roots of the experience, because when an idea is sown, and with the high emotion, heightened emotion, it becomes dominant. Well, you begin to have that experience. You begin to see that experience. You begin to have that experience. You begin to find yourself in and around that same type of feeling and energy. And now, each time you are in and around that experience or actually having it personally, is compounding. These are compounding. And it's more and more strengthening the idea, your belief in the experience. And the more it compounds and the more you believe in an experience, the roots get deeper and deeper. The momentum, the strength of that idea. And of course, this is an example or a metaphor, but the strength of that idea, the energy and the attention that is placed on that idea because of the continued experience, what it does is it makes that idea stronger. The energy around that idea within you is stronger, which equals frequent thoughts, frequent that patterns of thought around that idea, which equals more and more pronounced behaviors and expressions around that idea. These are all of the pieces and parts that come with an idea that has become dominant, state of being that is established based on an idea that you have become. And that's where our metaphor, if you will, of the roots comes. It's the strength of an idea that continues to swell because of the repetition that is occurring. Forgiveness of self, so important. Releasing yourself. I'm okay. Yes, this happened. Yes, I participated in it. Yes, I played a role in it. I can see how my feelings of unworthiness, of low value played a part. I can see how the fears, the insecurities aligned me with this experience, which means if I correct these feeling states, if I correct these ideas, then I'm no longer in alignment with these experiences. I am empowered. I forgive myself. I accept who I am and who I have been. I love who I am and who I have been. I'm excited about where I am going and the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding that I am drawing into me as I walk this path. The collaborative components are merely that, collaborative components in support of creation of the creation of experience. We are connected vibrationally. We were connected vibrationally because of who I am and how powerful I am. And I see that now. And that's exciting. Forgiveness frees you. Forgiveness releases you. Forgiveness allows you to be empowered at a more rapid pace as opposed to being stuck in an experience, stuck in an idea, stuck in a state of being in a certain level of vibration or frequency for days, weeks, months, years, lifetime. Many of you know of individuals, mature individuals, will say, older individuals will say, who still have an issue or a challenge with someone else over an event that occurred many years ago, still carrying the anger, still carrying the frustration, still carrying the hate, not knowing that they are locked in a level of vibration around that idea or around all of the ideas that are connected to the circumstance that occurred. They're locked into it. And they don't need permission to release themselves. It doesn't require anyone else that participated in the experience to be a part of the releasing. It merely requires for them to forgive themselves. That's all. To be accepting of the self, to be honoring of the self, to be loving of the self, even though they had the experience, to be recognizing of the self and aware of how they connected to it, how they align themselves with it. For in that is the power to realign yourself with actually intended experiences. This is powerful. Forgiveness is for the individual. And we hope you understand that. So we think we'll pause here with this interaction. If anyone who is present now has any comments, questions, thoughts that you are willing to put in the chat, we'll take a few minutes to discuss and have communication around those before we close. any experiences that you've had with forgiveness of the self and the feeling that came to be as a result of that forgiveness, the releasing that you could feel or that you felt as a result of that forgiveness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate you being here and offering your energy in the supporting of the discourse. For you participated with your energy, and we appreciate you. Thank you for that. Awesome. Awesome. So again, thankful, grateful for the opportunity to be of support for those of you who were able to participate live, and for those of you who have found this recording. We love you very much. We're excited for you and where you are on your journey, on this journey of enlightenment that each of us are on. If you are, if you found value in this interaction and you want to ramp it up a notch, be sure to register for, get the information in the description for our conscious discussions where you can actually participate in conversation, where we can actually have live conversation via Zoom. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity, allowing us to be of support, and we will talk to you soon.